Okay, today we're going to be doing the November 2019 question 3 of the past paper. It's the isometric drawing. So with mechanical, it's always your third orthographic projection. So they tell you that they've given you the front view, the top view, and the left view of a tool jig, the position of point P on the drawing sheet, and they say using scale 1 to 1, convert the orthographic views of the tool jig into an isometric drawing, make P the lowest point of the drawing, show all construction, and no hidden detail is required. So like I said, because it's third orthographic projection, also excuse these marks here. It's my cat. He walked all over the page and got mud on it. But because it's, once again, third orthographic projection, it will be your top, your front and your right view, your top, your front, and your left view. So they've told you, they've given you the top, which is this over here, the front, and then the left view over here. So once again, just ignore this as much as I am, sorry about it. You're gonna take your ruler and you're gonna take your 30-degree set square, and the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna make these lines going up like that, and on the same on the other side. And then I like to do a line up in the middle just as a little bit of a guide to get started. Now, as you can see, this one, I don't want to say it's complicated because it's not complicated. It just looks very difficult. But once it is drawn, it will look so much better. So I think what we're going to start by doing is the left view over here. So they tell us that the length of it is 80. So we're just going to take our compass, or you could take a ruler, and you're just going to measure from this point to any point over here, the length of 80. So I'm going to do that so long. Okay, as you can see, I got my 80 and then I just drew a line up. Then as you can see, if you have a look at the front view, this line goes up and it stops at a point. So here where there's a solid line, you can see that it goes up and it stops. So this stops at a length of 80. If you see those measurements over there. So from here to here, you can also just measure 80 up, make your line, and you can do like a line across, which you would just use your 30-degree set square. So you'd measure your 80 and you'd make just like a small little line across, and then we can start working on the view. Okay, so if you have a look over here, you will see that we have measurements over here to get the height of this, which is 30. So once again, we're going to be doing a lot of measuring, but you'll measure 30 up, you'll draw your line across, you will have your 10. So okay, let me just, first of all, I'm going to darken this bottom line here. I'm going to measure my 30 up, and then I'm going to draw a line across, and then I'll walk you through the next steps. Okay, so as you can see, I made this line dark because there's nothing that's cut out of it. It's going to be a solid line as well as for the bottom. Then I measured my 30 and I drew a little line across, and I just measured 15 because if you have a look, 15 is the depth of this over here. And then so what we can actually do is we can draw that line straight across the board. Okay, like that over here. And then as you can see, they say that there's 20 before this starts to slope, and the slope goes on for a distance of 10 millimeters. So I went ahead and I measured 20, and I'm just gonna make a point up here, and then where there's the 10, because I measured the 10 as well, I'll make a point over there. And as you can see, that's the slope, and you're just going to connect these points, and you can make this point here dark as well. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and it should look like this over here. Then, as we know, because this is this whole length is 80 and this is 60, that this measurement here in the middle will be 20. So all we're going to do is we're going to measure 20, and then we're going to do the same as what we did for the slope over here. We're going to measure our 10, and then obviously that will be our 20. And we will just basically do the same thing that we did for the side over here. measure those points, and then get our slope. Okay, and then it should look like this. I went and made this line over here dark because we know that that line's in the front, and I stopped it where we have our 80 because obviously it's going to slope and that won't be solid all the way up here. So now that we've got that, I think what we're going to do is start on this side over here and get that going. So we're going to measure, first of all, we're going to measure 120, and then we're going to make this bottom line here solid. Then we're going to measure, obviously we already have our 30 up, so that's lucky for us. Then we're going to measure 40. We're going to draw our slope up. 120 minus 40, just hold on a second, which is actually 40. Okay, so you're going to measure your 120, then you're going to measure your 40. Just do like a dot on the line, 40, 40, 40. And then we can take those lines up so we can get our slope. And then when you have that 120 line, you're just going to measure line up. You're going to measure 40, and that will be the height of your slope. So I'm going to start that so long. Okay, so as you can see, we've got our solid lines. We have our 40 up, our 40 millimeters up, and then I have our 40 millimeters across. And then obviously this length here is 30, and then we measured our 40 millimeters across. So we have the 2 points over here. We just connect them to get our slope, and then we can make these lines solid as well. Okay, once we've got that, what we're going to do is this slope over here. So first of all, if you have a look at the top view, they tell you that this is a length or a width of 12. So we're going to just measure 12 here, make a little line so that we can use that. Then obviously we know that this length here is 80, and if the whole length is 120, this whole slope will be 40. So we're also going to need to make like a little bit of a reference point. So we're going to just draw a line across our page. They tell us that it's got an angle of 60. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure 40 up. So that will be where our 17 is. And then you're just going to take your 60-degree set square where the 40 line is at the top over here. Just going to measure a line down. You can make a block around it. Sometimes it does help. So I think we can do that. Okay, and then we can do that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to measure this 12 over here, so then we can get started. Okay, once you've got that 12 point, you can draw a solid line down here, and you can make this little part solid as well. But we're also going to bring these lines up, further up, so that we can get this in over here. Okay, so I drew the lines up from our points. I made this solid, I made these lines here solid, and then I measured 40 up because, like I said, we know the height's going to be 40, and I took those lines across. Now this is where our square comes in handy. So you're going to take your compass, you're going to measure the measurement you have over here, like that. Then you're going to take your compass and you're just going to mark those points. You could actually just mark one point and then using your 30-degree set square, just connect them. But yeah, then what you're going to do is you're going to connect this point to this point, obviously, this point to this point. You're going to make this solid, and that will be the slope over here that we have going. And then all we're going to do is measure 120 on this line and bring those points up to get the height of this over here. And that will then be our wall over here. Okay, now as you can see, we've got the lines over here. These smudges are actually really irritating me. So if it's irritating you, I do apologize. But then if you have a look here at your views, you see that from the top we're going to measure 20 down. And that's because this over here, this whole like slope thing is a hole. As you can see by the hidden detail, it's showing that this is, you can see basically it's like a hole. You're going to see right through it. So sometimes it's just easier to take your set square and just make lines so that you can see like what's hidden detail. Obviously this line here is this hidden detail line here. The same with this line over here. It's to show that there's like a slope. So that's what we're going to work on now. So we're going to measure 20 down. And then we're going to start working on this over here. Oh. Okay, so once you measure 20 down, you're going to take your set square. You're going to draw a light line across. Then when you get to where your top part starts to slope, you're going to bring that line down, because this is where the new slope is going to start, and it's going to be a measurement of 20 where the slope starts. So you're just going to take your set square, you're going to measure 20, and then you're going to basically connect these. No, that's wrong. You're going to have to do another construction, obviously, but you see, that's why I'm wrong. Okay, so we're going to have to do another construction for this, but this 20 thing is right. This doesn't matter, but this line you do need regardless. This line here does not matter. Okay, so let's actually start with our new line, because it's basically going to be a height of 20 for this one. So it's going to be pretty much the same step as what we did for this one. We're going to have our bottom line. We're going to measure 20 up. Which should be over here. Okay, let me do that off camera quick. Okay, there we have our construction. So what we're going to do is we can actually draw a vertical line up for this over here. And then we're going to start with the same thing that we did for the bigger slope. We're going to just take our compass, we're going to take that measurement, and on this line you're just going to make a mark. You're going to connect these 2 points, and that's going to be where your slope is, and then you can make this a solid line and this line over here as well. Okay, once you've done that, it should look like this. Then we're going to get this over here. It's going to go straight down. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take from this corner here, we're going to make a little line going up. Then we're going to just bring this line down here and we'll make it a solid line. Yeah, and then I'm going to make this solid as well. Okay, once you're done, it should look like this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get this square over here, or this rectangle block thing. So they tell us that the measurement is 38. We know, if you have a look here, it's a square, but we know this touches exactly on this line here. So we're going to just make a line like this. And what would the measurement of this be? I believe it will be 20. Yes, it will be 20. Okay, so you're just going to measure 20 across on this line, and you can make another line down like that. Alright, it should look like this. Then you're going to take your ruler again. You're going to... Well, I've got the measurement of 38 over there, so I'm just going to make this a solid line. If my pencil would stop snapping. Okay, got your solid line. You can make a solid line back this way. Oh, you see what I mean? Okay. Then we're going to do this line as well. Because obviously we know it doesn't get interrupted. You can see on the top view, the side view. Oh, no, that's still right. Then we're going to do the start of the square. This will also be 20. Yep, you can see there's a measurement. So this is going to be like a proper square. So we can actually just go ahead and draw that. All the sides here will be 20. We're going to do nothing here for now. Okay, what I think we're going to do now is we're going to do this part over here. So we're going to just start by making the line over here, which will be a measurement of 30 because this added is 50. If you minus it from your 80, you'll get 30. Okay, so then you're going to take your 30-degree set square once again, and you're going to make this a line like that. Obviously, we know that this will be at the top, so this whole thing will be at the bottom. Now, I think the thing that's going to be confusing about this is this part over here, because it's actually just a triangle, but it's like cut off, so it's got like such a weird shape, and I know it would be like a bit difficult to visualize. And I think that's like the most difficult thing about an isometric drawing is they're not really difficult to put together. It's just when you're trying to visualize it, it can be a bit of a hassle sometimes. So anyways, we're going to start by just doing the top view because the top view would be the view that makes the most sense at this point. So we're going to just measure 30 on this line. And then you're going to draw a long line. Well, not a long line, but you know, quite a decent long length of line. And then, because if you have a look here at the top view, they give you 20 and 20. So you're just going to measure 40 down, but you're going to obviously have that middle 20 line. Okay, once you have those points, you're just going to draw lines for them. Like this over here. Oops. Okay, like that. Then I think what we're going to do now is just make the lines that we know are going to be solid. So this little line here, this line, and this line here are going to be solid for sure. In fact, this line over here we can make solid, and this line here will be solid. So I'm going to draw it up solid for you so that you can have a look. Okay, and it should look like this. Then we're going to measure, well, we're going to firstly take our ruler again and our set square, and we're going to draw this line over here down. Okay, this line down and this line down. Okay, once you've got all those lines down, you're going to make a little point of 20, which, because they tell you it's 20. Then you're going to take that measurement and you're just going to basically stick it on, or like make a line for all of these lines. Like this over here. Then this part is pretty simple. This is actually where it does get easier. All you're going to do is you're going to put a line, solid line here, and a solid line over here to get that triangle slice that we were talking about. And then you can make these, the remaining lines dark as well. Okay, and once that's done, it should look like this. But as you can see, if you look at it from the top view, you'll see like that, this like little weird part of the triangle. You'd see this part from this side and you'd see this part from this side. And that's why it's a bit confusing. But now if you have a look here, there's a hidden detail, which basically just tells us that, considering that there's like a gap here, that this is the gap and that this whole slope thing runs underneath it. So basically what we're going to do now, well, if you have a look here, you can actually see it. There's no solid line here. So there's a gap going through the middle there. So that's what we're going to work on now. So we're going to just start by making this line over here dark. Then we're going to draw these lines from this point here across, just very lightly from your slope all the way like that. They tell us that it's a measurement of 20, so all we're going to do is measure. This is 20 already, so that actually makes things easier for us. But we're going to measure, well, we're going to make a line here of 20. Okay, like this over here. Then we've got to remember that we can't just draw like a straight line down like that, because obviously there's a slope. So on your slope here, you're going to measure 20, and then you're going to connect these 2 points, and then you can make these lines over here solid. Okay, so to connect like this. Then I made this line here solid, and I drew the line going inside, like where you would see underneath that little groove, and then this back point here. But I just want to point something out. So obviously I do have the memo here as well for the paper. If you have a look, there's touches the center of like the triangle. So mine's probably off by a couple millimeters with this triangle. I always say it doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter, but for the sake of this video, it doesn't matter. You get like the point of what's supposed to happen, and that's actually what matters. So we're going to leave that. It's not going to affect the rest of the drawing. Like I said, it's probably just this point here. I'm not going to correct it. But we're going to move on now to more of the difficult stuff. So we're going to actually start by doing this over here. This whole gap thing, because that's what's part of this over here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our set square, and we're just going to measure quite a long line from this point here, and then on, well, we know this line is 20. Then we're going to just take this 20 line, and we're going to draw it up like that, because we're going to get this slope over here. And as you can see, like I said, because there's a hole over here, this part here sticks out just a little bit, which is what you're seeing over here, and that's what we're going to draw. So first of all, we're going to start by drawing this down. Like I said, we know it's 20, so we're just going to draw a light line across like this, and we're going to draw a line down like that. You see what I mean by saying like mine's off by like a couple millimeters. It doesn't matter though. Yours is probably gonna be fine. So yeah, okay. So we've got this line over here. We can actually darken it. But no, this line we're not going to darken, because this square actually goes right in the middle point over here. So if you do like this, you take this point here. You're gonna just draw that line there, and mine's skew. Okay, then you're gonna take obviously this bottom line again. You're gonna draw it up, and then because this square goes right in the middle as well, you can see here actually how it goes inside this hole. You're going to draw a line up here to show that that's where it goes. Okay, so as you can see, there's that solid line over there. This line over here doesn't need to be seen. We're not going to use it, but because it's really irritating me because it doesn't match up, like I said, because my drawing's off by like a millimeter or two, I'm going to erase it so that it looks right. Okay, but now we're going to get onto this actual part over here. So like I said, it's going to be this width, and we're going to start by doing that. So firstly, we know that this line or this measurement here for this section is 30 millimeters. So on this line over here, we're going to measure 30 millimeters. Okay, so we've got that 30 measurement here. Then we're going to measure 20, and we're going to make a line up here. And then we're going to make this point here solid. Okay, once you brought that line, we're going to focus on getting the length here. So we know that this length here is 60 before you get to the bottom of the slope. So we're going to take our set square and we're going to just measure 60 from this point, which will be here. And then you're going to bring it up to that 70, to that 70 line. So let me do that. Okay, and it should look like this, because obviously you'll get this point here. You'll draw a line across to get the width. You'll take it up to that 70 line that we made. You'll bring it across, and then you'll just connect the rest of your points. Okay, then what we're going to do now is we're going to draw in these lines here that are missing. So I'm actually going to draw all of these, and then I'll explain to you what I did to like get the measurements or whatever. Okay, and once you got those lines, well, I said I would explain, but if you have a look here, this is showing this over here, and the measurement is 80. So you're just going to measure 80, connect that line, draw that line with your 30 degree set square across. Now what we're going to do is the circle, which I left for last because I figured I know a lot of people struggle with it, so it would be like, I don't want to say best for last, worst for last, so that we could figure it out together without getting confused here. So we're just going to start by drawing up these lines, which I've just done over here. They tell us that the radius is 20, which means that this would have to be 40. Well, yes. So this line is already 40. All you're going to want to do is just halve it like this over here, and draw a line in the center. Then what you're going to want to do, okay, so this helps me, so we're going to do this my way of doing it. Okay, so we know that because the radius is 20, everything is going to be 20. So we've already got our middle point, and we're just going to draw like a vertical line like that. And we're going to do the same on the sides over here and over here, like that over here. Then we're going to measure 20 up and 20 down, and we're just going to measure or make those lines across like that. Okay, and as you can see there, we have like a little square with our things in the middle. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your set square, and from, as you can see, there's like an obtuse angle here. So from the obtuse angles, you're going to make a line down and a line down, and then let me do that. Okay, like this. And then you're going to just take your set square again, and where the obtuse angle is on this side, you're going to make a line or lines to the obtuse angles. Okay, and then you should have this. Then obviously, because we're drawing only a half circle, we don't need as much or as many points. But you're going to take your compass, you're going to stick it on this little line in the middle here. You're going to measure to this point, and you're going to just make that little circle right up to the other point. Okay, like that. As you can see, my circle looks horrible. The lid snapped. Okay. Then you're gonna want to get this part of the circle here now. So you're gonna take your compass and you're going to measure up till this point over here, and then you're gonna want to draw your circle in. Okay, and then it should look like this. Then what you're going to want to do to get the inside of the circle over here, you're going to take your set square, and you're going to find that point that you used for your compass, And you're going to just draw a line like that. You're going to measure 20, which let me do. Okay, you're going to get your 20 measurement. Then all you're going to do is you're going to take your compass and you're going to draw that back part of the circle in like that. And then pretty much the same thing for this point. You're going to take that point back. You're going to get your 20 and you're going to finish it off. Okay, well, you're not actually going to need to take this point. This is actually just right. And then your drawing will be done. This is basically what the whole drawing looks like. And yeah, I hope this actually helped you. Yeah.